Hello and good evening to everyone. We're going to be talking about the Leicester 1, Wolves 0. I'm going to have a laugh at myself because the guys in the green room backstage are all having a little chuckle because we did the full intro and everything, and I talked for about a minute and then I forgot to press the live button. This is what happens with live shows. First one of the season, so got a chuckle about that. But obviously, you'll notice that I'm not joined tonight by my co-host, Amy, and that's because she's had a hen do or something, and she wasn't able to go to the game today, but she should be back for the Tottenham game. But I am joined tonight. I'm going to be joined by Paul, who's a regular and a friend of the show, Carl, Jeevan, and Scott. And Scott has been recovering from COVID recently, so I'm glad he's feeling well enough to be able to join us today. And we're also going to be joined by a debutant tonight, Mr. Jack Morton, who is one of my Instagrammers on Dazzling Dave, and he goes home and away, I believe, and he's going to be joining in with his comments as well today. But obviously, it's a slightly different show to normal because normally all of us have watched it remotely on the TV, or you've watched my watch along with no fans. And today, the Premier League season is well and truly back. It's a full house at the King Power Stadium. It was an amazing atmosphere. The Wolves fans, I have to say, were absolutely in full voice, magnificent all the way throughout. It was such great vibe before, during, and after the game. And Wolves put on a decent performance, even though we lost the game. So I'd like you, if you're in the comments, please join in. Make sure that you do us a favour, smash a like on this video if you're already watching along, and leave us some comments after the video. And make sure you subscribe and hit the bell, because there will be a match day vlog coming out on the channel from my experience today at the game. And of course, I've already put my reaction on, but we're going to get my first guest on live to the channel straight away. A very big friend for the show. I think he's been today. Hello, Paul. How are you?
Hi, Dave, and good evening to everyone that's joining in tonight.
And yeah, fantastic. And massive thank you to my partners with this show, Spider, VPM, who power this particular show and podcast. Paul, it's been a while since we spoke, and we do need to organise that game of tennis, mate, because we need to get that back on. I need to get used to your powering lobs to the back of the court, because you know I'm only small. Paul, did you go today?
I did indeed, and I have to say I went to the game with a bit of trepidation. I thought this could be a game where we could get turned over a little bit, because got a new manager, a bit of uncertainty. Leicester have just beaten Man City, obviously a very strong team. But I have to say I've come away from the game feeling really positive, having watched that today, especially in the second half. So, yeah, lots more positives than negatives from today's showing.
Oh, mate, I have to agree with you wholeheartedly. I went into the game today, I've got to say, literally thinking to myself, we could, because obviously Bruno Lage is trying to play this high line and everything. And with the likes of Vardy and the strike force that they've got a lot of speed, a lot of pace. And we have seen in pre-season, Paul, watching some of the matches, that Wolves have got caught with that ball through the middle, with them running on and playing the high line. And we did get caught a couple of times, but we played that offside for the first goal. But generally, I thought we managed Leicester on a whole. Bearing in mind, it's, you haven't got your full strength back line in there. But Bolly's out. Yerson, who's come in and made a real impression, was out. And you've got Saiz again playing in the back three, Cody and Kilman, who I thought had a really good game. I thought we managed Leicester really well. What are your thoughts on that?
I have to agree with you, because there's two key bits of evidence for that. They took James Maddison off after an hour because he didn't have a kick.
Yeah.
And they took Barnes off after about 70-odd minutes. So for me, that's two bits of evidence to show that we were the team in the ascendancy. Leicester even changed to a back three to mitigate the fact that we were in charge in the second half. Just to pick up on a point that you mentioned there as well, Max Kilman, man of the match for me. It seems like he's been given a bit of a brief to bring the ball out as well. For me, I've always felt that he's very comfortable on the ball, keeps it simple but effective. And not only was it good to see him play very well defensively, but I thought, especially in the second half, he was stepping into midfield, committing Leicester players. And I'm not going to say that he's going to solve our centre-half problems, because I think everybody is in agreement. We need a top centre-half. We still do. But for me, it makes the issue less of an issue. And I think the number one priority really is midfield. But yeah, Max Kilman, top performance from him today.
Yeah, I've got to admit, mate, I've been quite impressed by Kilman. He played as well on the right side, which isn't his strongest side either, because he's more left-sided, isn't he, generally, Max? And I thought his positional play, his composure on the ball, making the right decisions, I thought he was really good. And he's starting to look, to me, like a Premier League centre-back. And we could have a bit of a solution in-house. I do think we still need to bring in another centre-back, because Bolly seems to become a little bit more injury-prone. It's also great to see Marcel going for his record consecutive games, now 6 games without injury, because he was a bit made of glass last year. And I'll be quite interested to see what sort of midfielder you think we need to be bringing in, Paul. I think we are crying out for additional support in that area, because Moutinho, 34. I still pinch myself to think that we've got Moutinho that's playing for our team and playing for us again. But his legs are probably starting to go at that sort of level. I thought he did well today. Personally, I'd have liked to seen us start with Neves and Dendoncker like we finished with Villarreal. I just think we'd just look more attacking. But I thought he did have a decent game, and Dendoncker came in with about 20 minutes to go. Well, who have you got in mind for that midfielder?
It's hard to give a specific person, because we recruit from abroad in general. My knowledge isn't fantastic about football on the continent. I know that we're linked today with Oliveira from Porto. Don't know too much about him, but I know he's been in the Portugal squad. But for me, a bit like what Liam Keane said on your show last week, we need a midfielder who can run past roll, can run beyond the attackers, and it's just different to what we've got. I totally agree with you. I think Moutinho today was really excellent. I'd love to see his stats actually, because I don't think he gave the ball away once. And it was him actually that put that great through ball through for Traore in the first half.
That's right. And Traore, you saw his pace, because we were worried about Leicester doing exactly that to us, but we actually hurt them a couple of times doing the same. Yeah. And it seems like Traore seems to have a little bit of a freer role in the Bruno Lage side. He seems to be able to switch around that front line a lot more. I saw him and Trincao both switch sides many times during the game. And I think you mentioned just before we were talking, before we came live on air, although he missed his chances today, and it was a good chance, he didn't snatch at it. He tried to place it with composure, didn't he? He just put it past the post.
Yeah, in the past, he's been guilty of snatching at chances or just trying to put his foot through the ball. Even though he missed 2 good chances today, for me, what was a positive was that he was trying to go for accuracy, trying to place the ball into the net. So that's progress for me. And I heard one Leicester fan, say on the way out of the game, I would not like to be playing against him. So even though he didn't take his chances today, obviously he still poses such a fantastic, unique threat for us. I don't think there's any player like him really in the league. So especially reunited with Jimenez now, I'd be expecting those two to combine for goals over the forthcoming weeks. And as you said, seems to have a bit more license. He's not just got chalk on his boots out on the wing. We saw him play quite narrow at times. We saw him crop up on the other side. But we did see him also still stay wide. So that just makes him more unpredictable and more difficult to defend against. And it gives him another string to his bow.
Oh, absolutely. Nightmare saying here about Traore has no awareness, he just walks and doesn't pass, but in pre-season was made, he just really lazy. I didn't see that today. I thought he wasn't lazy. I thought he was looking for the pass. I thought he had a lot more awareness. I'm not sure whether I agree with that comment. Thomas says, I'd rather him hit a screamer. He seems to finish them. Well, that one that he did smack, he does when he hits them that he can hit. So he did try to hit a couple as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he's got that in his locker, definitely. If you think about the goal he scored at home to Tottenham, at home to Man City. But sometimes when he's got time to think about a chance in the past, that's when he's been a bit wild. But yeah, you don't want to play against him for sure.
No, I don't. And I think Traore, personally, in terms of the transfer window, I think we need to bring those 2 or 3 players in. I think you're right about that midfielder. I think we need that box-to-box midfielder, that midfielder that's got that engine on him, that's got that real engine. I mean, maybe not quite in the Dave Edwards mold, but Dave Edwards had an engine in that sort of league that he was doing, but someone that can really have that engine. I think Bruno Lage is playing Neves a little bit further forward than Nuno as well. Have you noticed that? I
noticed that today in the second half, particularly. He's never going to be, he's not a quick player, but he's mobile. He can run all day. And what I noticed in the second half was that he wasn't trying to run past Jimenez, but he was probably playing 10 to 15 yards on average higher up the pitch than he was last season. And I think that's one of the pleasing things about today for me. We didn't go and just park the bus and just try and catch them on the off chance of a counter attack. And actually, we went there today to get 3 points. And for me, that's a real positive. That even though we lost, to me, I don't feel that disappointed. I actually feel positive because
I'm exactly the same, mate. That's how I felt coming out the game. I went into the game with a bit of trepidation because what we've seen in pre-season, obviously, and obviously we're short on players with injuries. I mean, we've still got like Pedence coming back, who's our little hazard. I don't think we saw the best of him towards the end of last season because he was carrying that injury. But you see when he's fully fit, he can be a real nuisance and a real player. We're missing Pedro Neto. Obviously, we're missing who's the left wing back? What's his name? Johnny Otto. Bolly's out as well. Yerson's out. So we've got 5 injuries there. And if the bench did look a little bit thin today, but you've got to keep faith. I think what you saw Bruno Lage saying in his interview, in his media interview, and he said it a few times in his press conference, is trust in the chairman. That suggests to me irons are in the fire and the signings will come. But I do think we need to hold on to Neves and Traore. I don't want to lose either one of those. I think we need to build around them, not lose one, because they're both seen today in, seeing what Traore's done and seeing Neves playing further up the pitch. I think Neves can be more of an influence, and Traore, if he's got more of a free road, I think he's going to have a great season and his value is only going to go up. And I think if we can keep them, and we got them in September, I think Traore will sign his new contract because he'll want the extra money. And that means that hopefully if the market does come down the line in a year or January, they'll command a higher fee as well. But I listened to our Talk Sport on the way back, and there was Abby Abonglago or whatever his name is from Villa, he used to play for Villa, and he was saying, and I was like, what? He was saying, I think Wolves are going to be in a relegation battle. Traore wants to leave. He doesn't look interested. He's not signed a new contract. I'm thinking, like, you know nothing, mate. It's like Traore didn't play like a player that doesn't want to be there. He played like someone that really wants to impress and is enjoying his role. Don't know what you think.
Yeah, and he's not the only person to tip us for relegation, actually. I was reading Tony Cascarino's column in the Times yesterday, and he's predicted that we finish 18th. And I've walked away from that match today thinking this isn't a team that looks in danger of getting relegated. What I would say is that the goals have got to come, though, at some point, because we don't want this to become a theme over the next few weeks. Oh, we had a good go. We were positive. At some point, and I know it's really early days, at some point the goals have got to come, because that's been our Achilles heel definitely last season, a little bit the season before as well. So I think being relegated is a bit wide of the mark, and I'm not worried about that, despite what some of the experts are saying. But at the same time, the goals have got to come.
Yeah, to be honest, mate, you're absolutely right. That's the thing that's missing. Last week against Celta Vigo, today we got into. I mean, we had 17 shots to I think Leicester's 8. I think we had 5 or 6 shots, really in dangerous areas, and they did put a few last tackles in. And there was a time when that one that Traore was through in the second half, when you thought he was going to shoot, and then he checked back to Gibbs White, and he just let Leicester get set and get a tackle in. But the goals, if we play like this, surely are going to come. And just to finish off with, on your part of the show, Paul, give us your thoughts on what you're seeing from Jimenez. Do you think he's getting back to the Jimenez of old?
I do, yeah. I think he looked like a class act today. And the only thing that really would have capped his performance was he's the one that you wanted a chance to fall to, and he didn't get. He didn't even get a half chance actually today, but I thought his link-up play was excellent, and he clearly knows that his head is an issue. So for me, what I think he's doing really well is using his body so that he's not having to head it, but he's holding the defender off and trying to take it on his chest a bit more. And I think the way he uses his body is so intelligent, and I think that's a massive factor in helping to relieve a bit of pressure from our defence. Fabio Silva's going to be a great prospect for us, but he's not able to hold the ball up yet. He's not able to bring players into play. Jimenez gives you that, and other players will get into the game off the back of him being on the pitch. So to give you a short answer to your question, yeah, it really does look like he's back. He looks lean. He looks sharp. His touch is very good. He looks like a class act, and all he needed today was a half chance.
He did, mate, and I'm feeling really positive. Paul, absolute pleasure to have you on. Hopefully you can join us again after the Tottenham match if you can fit it in, because it's the first home match. It's going to be Bruno versus Nuno, and I'm feeling a lot more positive about next week. I think it will be emotional next week, though, going back to the stadium. And also, mate, look, I've seen on your Instagram that you've had a really nice holiday, so I hope the break's done you good. Yeah,
definitely has. Always love going to Portugal. It wasn't nice paying for all the COVID tests that I've had to pay for, but it was worth it in the end.
No, brilliant, mate. And thank you very much for tonight, mate. And let's hope we have a great season and those goals do come. That's Paul, friend of the show, again, making some fantastic points. Thanks ever so much, Paul.
Yeah, nice to see you, Dave, and see you soon, everyone. Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you. Fantastic. Again, from Paul. And next off, we have another debutant. It is, I'm going to get this right, Jeevan.
Yeah, you got it right.
Have I got that right, mate?
How you doing?
Not bad. Can you get a bit closer, because your mic's really, really low. I can't hear you.
Is that better?
It's a bit better, yeah.
Okay.
You're just very quiet.
Just try to put my headphones in.
You're just really quiet.
How's that now? Is that better?
That's better, yes, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Obviously, Jeevan, for those of you that don't know, is Manny's son, and you work and do a lot of stuff with the foundation, don't you, Jeevan?
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. And you were, along with your brother and your dad, you were basically there today at the stadium. And how did you find the game, and how did you find the atmosphere?
I think everyone can agree we've missed having the crowd, haven't we? Especially on an away day. I've missed my away days, so no, it's really good having the fans back after a long 18 months. Yeah, I think today's game, second half especially, is very similar to the Celta Vigo match. So first half, we're sort of finding our way in the game. Then in the second half, you could clearly see that obviously at half time, Bruno's had a chat with the players. We need to get in their half. We need to get in their faces a bit more. Similar to Paul, really. I thought we performed really well, but as Bruno said in his interview after the game, it's based on result, isn't it? So if you don't score goals, very simple, you won't win football matches. So we need to find a way where we can score more goals. Whether that's going to be through transfers, whether that's going to be through playing a few games and slowly getting there, I don't know. But it's clear to me that Bruno wants 2 to 3 players. He said that he's backing the board, that they're going to get that done. Now I've heard that Sergio Oliveira is linked with us, so he'll be a good addition because I know he's quite attacking minded as well. I've seen him play at Porto in the Champions League. In terms of that second half again, obviously you had Kilman and Seiss playing a bit more attacking, which was quite surprising. Very similar to what someone like Sheffield United did with their back three, where they had the 2 attacking and 1 dropping back. I think it was Cody, the only one who was sitting back in the second half. Seiss and Kilman playing almost like a third winger. So I thought that Kilman on the right side, he caused a lot of problems. I think it was their left back Thomas.
Yeah.
I think it was Hoover, Kilman, Trincao. All 3 of them were causing him problems because he wasn't sure which one to mark, which one to close down. We had a lot of crosses coming in from that side as well. And also, I want to give a shout out to Marcel as well. I thought he was really solid in that left back position today. Going forward as well, making those forward runs, got a few good balls in as well. Traoré as well, that could have been the difference, that chance he had in the first half where he just hit it wide. Unfortunate really, because after that I thought his confidence went quite low after that. I think, was it the 3rd chance he had where he was through on goal? Then he sort of dragged it back and passed it back rather than
that's the one we talked about. He was through. You thought he was going to shoot, and then he passed it back to Morgan, and he gave Leicester a chance to get the block in, didn't he, from the shot?
Yeah, that as well. They're the moments which change games as well. It is what it is, really. Again, what I'm seeing from Bruno is he definitely wants to get another defender in as well, because I think we definitely do need another centre-back, because if we want to play a back 4, we need 2 centre-backs who know how to play in that back 4 as well. And obviously that allows us to play an extra attacking player as well, which we need with Raul, because I thought at times we weren't getting enough service into him today. So I think if we get another centre-back in, I'd go 4-4-2. So we can have that sort of supporting player, or even a 4-4-1-1 where we have that attacking midfielder as well. It just gives us more options going forward as well.
No, I agree.
I
agree. And mate, what did you? Let's just give us a taste of what you felt about the day and the atmosphere and the fans today. How good was it to be? You were right in the midst. I saw where you were. You were to my left, halfway up in the corner. I sent a photograph of you lot that I got to your dad. I don't know if you showed it yet. What did you feel about the whole experience today of being back at the game?
Honestly, it was brilliant. I thought the crowd today were absolutely brilliant, singing non-stop until the final whistle. I thought we outclassed the Leicester fans as well. I think that was one of the quietest grounds I've been to in a while.
Yeah, they had that little slither to the left of us that were their singers, and that was about all they had. That was about it. That was their South Bank.
Considering they've won the FA Cup, don't forget the Community Shield, doing well in the league for a few seasons, are still not really as passionate as what I thought.
They had the little clappers out again today, didn't they, Leicester?
It's one of those, isn't it? But I thought our crowd today, absolutely brilliant. Considering we've lost half our songs from last season as well.
No, they've got to make a load of new songs.
Yeah, I know. Bands were brilliant. Performance was brilliant as well. Thought every player on that pitch gave it their all. It's just that scoring goals. Because as I said before, it's the results business. You need to score goals to win games. You look at United today. Even look at teams like Watford. I know they won 3-2, but you've still got to score goals.
Was it 3-2 in the end against Villa? Because they were 3-0 up, weren't they?
Villa came back, Everton 1-0 down. They scored 3 goals. So it just shows that in this league, to win games, you need to score goals.
Exactly. And hopefully the goals will come. As Paul said, you know, we're saying about how many chances we create, how positive we were, but if it'll wear very thin, very fast if we don't start putting these things. Vardy only, I mean, he had that offside that he put away, but he only really had one half chance and he scored off it. It was a really good goal. And then he came over and started giving it large to the Wolves fans. Nightmare has said on air, did you see Vardy held to the Wolves fans? The answer to that question is, mate, yes. And I've got it full on my match day vlog. I've captured that and it'll be on there tomorrow. You can see what I mean. But I didn't think there was any need for that from Vardy. It was a great goal. Lacked a bit of class there, I thought.
When you see that against other clubs, you have a laugh, don't you? Let's be honest. Obviously, there's that banter side to it as well, but there wasn't really much need for that. But I suppose that's the character he is. I thought the finish was good from him when he scored. He's just a class striker, isn't he? At the end of the day,
he is his class, and we generally did quite good. So, Jeevan, to finish off on what you're going to give the performance rating out of 10, and who was your man of the match?
So the performance rating, I'll give it a 7.5. I thought overall for the game, I think we had more shots than them. I think second half, especially, we had about 14 attempts. They only had 2. So performance-wise, we've done really well. Again, I would have gone a bit higher if we would have won, obviously, and got the goals. Then my man of the match, I'm going to give it to Kilman just because of the work.
Kilman again. That's 2 votes for man of the match. He's leading on tonight. We'll be interested to see what everyone else is. Jeevan, it's great that you've made your debut tonight. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. And hopefully you can come on as well as your dad in the future as well. It's brilliant. And hopefully see you down at Molineux next Sunday for the reunion. And keep up the great work with of course the Wolves Community Foundation, and I'll obviously see you on Samosa Saturday just before the United game, mate.
See you then.
All the best, buddy.
All right then, see you later.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Bye.
That's Jeevan making his debut. We've got Paul, we've got Carl, Jack and Matt to come on, but let's get to and Scott, but let's get to Jack next. Hi, Jack.
Hi, Dave. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Fantastic to have you on the show tonight, mate. You messaged me on the Insta. You're making your debut. Did you go today?
Yes, I did, mate. Yes, I did.
And how good was it to be back?
Quite shocked, to be honest. I was a bit emotional, to be honest, being back in the stadium for nearly 2 years. It's quite emotional.
I felt that as well, mate. And if you like, we tasted a bit of that today. But can you imagine how emotional it's going to be next week?
Yeah, especially with the reunion, as you just said. I agree with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm thinking the reunion really. It's rather than Nuno. I'm thinking of a reunion of like all the people that sit around you or stand around you in the stands that you might have not seen for 18 months. I went obviously to the Celta Vigo game, but obviously there's a lot that didn't go. Summer holidays, people away on holiday, and obviously a few fans that get the seats that you don't know, which is great. But like I always said, with the pandemic, I wanted us to all come back together. We left together and come back together. And next weekend, I do think it's going to be. I think Molineux is going to be absolutely rocking to the Raptures, and I do think that it's going to be loud. And obviously, we do have. I think Nuno will get a good reception from the fans because we never really had the proper chance to say goodbye to him, everyone. But aside from that, we just want a performance. We want to score goals, and we want to absolutely tank Tottenham next week.
Yeah, I can't disagree anymore with you on that one, mate. Only thing is, like you said earlier, with Paul and Jahiv, the goals. Jimenez, he didn't really have a chance. Right, if I'm honest, he had a couple of headers, which, to be honest with you, I thought they defended quite well. To be honest with Leicester at the end, when he changed it to a back three to help.
They managed the game out, didn't they? They managed the game, and mate. So what did you think getting onto the actual performance itself today? What's your takeaways from that?
First half, if I'm being brutally honest, I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed at all first half. I thought it was a bit slow. I thought it was getting, obviously, first minutes of the season. You've got to get used to it again. I mean, Traore's I don't know how he's missed that, if I'm being brutally honest. I'm not being really. For Jimenez on the end of that, he would have scored, for what he would have.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was good. It's good to see that he, like Paul said, he didn't just snatch at it. He did try to place it. Composure. I think you're right. Raul would have buried it without a shadow of doubt. And that's the one part of Traore's game. If you could just get that finish, if you could just add finishing to his game, his all-round game would be about there. I thought he had a decent game. He was lively, caused problems, but again. Vardy, as I say, he had a half chance. He puts it away. We had more than half chances, and we didn't put them away. And then at the end of the day, we lost the game because we couldn't put the ball in the back of the onion bag.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. I agree with that completely.
Who impressed you from Wolves on the pitch today?
Like everyone else has said so far, got to be Max Kilman for me, man of the match. I thought he was outstanding.
That's three.
I thought he was outstanding.
Man of the match from Kilman.
Who else I thought played
well? What
do
you like about Kilman, mate?
He's just really comfortable on the ball. I've never seen, like, obviously I've seen Bolly do it a couple of times, but Kilman, like, he had that chance where he's gone literally halfway across the pitch to cut in, and I'm thinking, for a centre half, I'm like, wow, okay. I think he's done really well there, to be honest with you. He's a really good player. I'm glad to see he's been given a chance again, because obviously he was not in favour with Nuno, and now he's been given a chance.
Yeah, he's mate. To be honest, if he plays like that every week, he's going to be making a case to keep it down. We do need to strengthen at the back. Without
completely agree with that.
Obviously, Bruno does want to be able to play out of the back. He wants people that are comfortable on the ball. And you can definitely see that in Kilburn. And he does have a good positional play. And he was playing on the opposite side of where he normally would like to play. And he's got very much composure on the ball. So, I mean, what were your thoughts on Trincao?
No, he was okay. I mean, to be quite honest with you, he reminded me of when Pedro Neto first came, where I was a little bit like, oh, is this going to be a player that we've not heard of? He didn't really. I mean, I've been to a few pre-season games, and I've not. Today was probably his best one I've seen him play. I wasn't really. He was better than he was in the other ones. But like you've said before, with players, they come in, they don't start brilliantly, but under the guidance of like Nuno and obviously now Bruno, he'll easily turn that around. I think he'll be a good player.
I think so. I like the look of him. He's got tricks with him. Sometimes he plays the tricks in the wrong place. There was a real opportunity right in their area where he did this little flick and he lost the possession. And I thought he did really well. And where do you think we need to strengthen before the transfer deadline? And who would you let go? Anyone out the current side, or do you want to keep?
I would definitely, like you've said in the last person, I'd definitely get Adama signed on a new contract. That'd be the first thing I'd do. I'd build the team around Neves and Adama, exactly like you've said, and I completely agree with you on that. I'd probably buy another, like you've said, a box-to-box midfielder, like the Oliveira, like you've said. I'd even go out and get another centre-half.
Yeah, I think that's definitely. I think Bruno definitely wants that option of playing four at the back, the 4-3-3 formation. But at the moment, we're not able. I don't think he's got the personnel to play that. I think that's why he's gone with the three. And it worked quite well. And I was quite positive about the actual whole day and experience. I mean, you've given Max as your man of the match to finish off on. What would you give the performance rating today out of 10?
I would give it an 8. I think first half it was hit and miss. Second half, I thought we outplayed them. If I'm being brutally honest. I thought second half we really outplayed them. But there's improvements, like you said, and I think the only thing that I will say is it's the clinical side of things where we had, like you said, 17 shots. Did you say? And
17 shots apparently today, mate.
Was it like 4 or 5 in this? They had the main one and scored. That's the difference.
Well, pretty much, yeah. I think they had about 8 shots to our 17. So it just goes to show. And to be fair, I thought we deserved a point. But if you don't put the ball in the net, then you don't deserve anything. And I think, from me, my takeout on it, I think with most people, I'm positive. I can see signs of what he's trying to do, and it was entertaining, and we showed fight and passion. It was probably the most entertaining I've seen Wolves in 18 months, pretty much. But we've got to be scoring, and if we don't start scoring, it will become old hat very, very soon in the near future. So hopefully, at one of these times, that the balls are going to start. I've said for ages, at some point, Wolves will absolutely wallop someone. Everything will go in. I hope it's next weekend, mate.
Oh, mate, totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. You can imagine what the fans will be like if that happens.
Oh, mate, absolutely. So I'm going to get on. Scott. Oh, he's here. So I'm going to get on Scott next, mate. Jack, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and just drop us a message if you ever want to get on. And I hope you've enjoyed coming on the show.
To be fair to you, I do sit in the North Banks at lower tier, so I probably will see you in there. So I look forward to seeing you again.
That's fine. Hopefully see you next weekend then, buddy.
Yes, no problem, mate.
All the way. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yes, you too, Dave. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right. So that's Jack. Next, we're going to get on Scott. Oh, Scott's disappeared. He was here a second. Oh, Scott's back again. Scott is like the okie cokey at the moment. He's in and out. And then we got Carl, and then we got Matt from Germany and Berlin to finish. Scott is gone again. Right, so we're going to get Carl on next then, and then Scott will come back. Scott is in and out like the proverbial okie cokey. Carl,
yes, okay.
Have you watched the game today?
Well, I watched it 2 ways. I watched it on a stream on the internet, and also I did with a little bit of a watch along with some of the Leicester City fans.
Oh, right, fantastic. And how were they feeling?
Well, they were saying we played better than they did with all the amount of chances we had. So they said that we were lucky not to get a point in that game, and they were very impressed how Max Kilman was playing. So they were saying they were really worried when they had to change formation, change a lot of things.
No, absolutely, mate. I think I definitely agree. And could you hear the fans on the stream that you were watching?
Yes, I could hear them. They were very loud. Yes,
it was loud, and I've got my match day vlog coming out tomorrow. Once I've edited it, and I've got some brilliant fan footage of the fans singing, and I can tell you it was blooming loud, and it was just brilliant to be inside the stadium. So, but you watched it on the TV
yes.
today. From watching it from afar, what did you make of the performance, and who impressed you?
Well, again, Max Kilman impressed me. The team played very well, the best they could do with the squad they got available. I'd love to have seen a bit more attacking with Adama. Obviously, getting that chance, which he missed, which was a shame. But I just can see some positives coming out of the game, and I think if you look at it for the next game against Tottenham, I think you'll probably find they'll take some of those chances.
Well, I'm hoping so, mate, because we do need to start taking our chances. It was, to be honest, I couldn't believe we didn't score last weekend, but today, we never scored. I'm just like, Cody did put the ball in the net, but he was offside.
I was going to mention that because of when they said Cody was toward that poked in 1 yard out to get that. It was offside. I thought, oh, flipping heck, here we go.
Yeah,
again.
He was offside
again.
He was offside, to be fair, but at least he did finish it, so that was good. And obviously Cody's going up, looks like he's going to be going up more for set pieces. One of the things I'm looking for improvement from Wolves from last year is how we are on set pieces, both defensively and offensively. I thought we dealt with Leicester's set pieces very well today. But again, we wasn't able to make the most of our set pieces. I think that's something that we definitely got to look at improving. We need to get as many goals from set pieces as well as open play, I think.
Yeah, but one question more I would think was, what do you think about Hoover's performance today? Because I think Hoover was quite poor today. I think Semedo was very unlucky to be dropped out of the squad today, especially when he played against Celta Vigo. I heard what you said about Celta Vigo. He played well.
I think probably Hoover got the nod because Semedo had been obviously isolating because of COVID, and maybe he wasn't fully match fit. I was surprised he didn't come on. And I thought Aitonari might come on as well on the other side because he's a bit more offensively as the wing backs. I thought Hoover did well. He's a young lad, but I was a little bit more nervy on that side than I was with Marcel, who's got a bit more experience, stronger body. I thought he looked quite good. I was quite impressed with Marcel, but Hoover, I do think he's got weaknesses, but I think he's still a young lad and he hasn't had that much game time at this level. So he did okay. I thought he covered as well a bit at the back a couple of times when we were thinking, but again, you do a little bit worry with Hoover, but I think he was solid without being fantastic. But I would have liked to have seen Semedo come on that side because but at the end of the day, he was getting the ball a lot. Hoover, he did that one cross where it went straight out of play, but he was trying to get to the byline and get across. But you just think Semedo on that side would have a little bit more trickery to get behind the players. He's got a little bit more speed with the last 20 minutes. So I was a bit disappointed we didn't see Semedo.
I was very disappointed not to see, but the thing is, I'm not the manager, and he's the one who knows the players there. But it's like we do need like a holding midfielder. That we are lacking that little bit of bite. We
do. So, mate, just to finish off, your man of the match and your performance rating for the game?
Max Kilman again.
Max Kilman. We're gonna have a clean sweep. We've got Scott and Matt to come, and it's Max Kilman again. And your performance rating?
7.5.
7.5. Absolutely brilliant. Carl, thank you very much for coming on, and also thank you for being one of my members on the channel as well. It's much appreciated support. And hopefully we'll see you on again next weekend.
We'll probably see me next weekend.
Brilliant. All the best, mate.
All the best to you. Cheers.
Cheers. So that's Carl. We've just leaves us with Scott and Matt. And next up is Scott. Scott, great to see you. I can see that you're rocking the Mexico jersey today. Scott, you've not been very well, have you?
No. Been ill with COVID, unfortunately, but I'm getting to the end of it now, I think.
So for those that are watching, can you just tell me, how it's been for you with COVID? Because are you in your 30s?
Yeah, I'm 33 now. And to be honest, it's been horrible. It's one of them where I showed no symptoms, and then I did start to feel a bit out of breath when I was doing some football training. So the following day, I wasn't feeling great when I woke up. Did one of those home tests that you can get, and came back positive. So I sent off for my actual proper test from the government. Yeah. And that came back positive, and I've been self-isolating, but it's been horrible. I've still got a cough now that I can't shift. It's a consistent one, but according to the doctors, that's normal. I'm gonna have that for a while now. Other than that, there's nothing else wrong with me now. I'm feeling quite well.
You're starting to get better, you said, but you just caught it just before you were about to get the vaccine, weren't you?
Oh yeah, just my luck. Had the vaccine booked, the first one, and then 2 days before I was scheduled to go in, got hit down with it, which is it's just my way. It always happens to me, something like that. So, but yeah, I would for me, vaccines are a must. I've got to wait a month now until I can have it because of me recovering from COVID. But definitely need it, especially if it helps with what you go through. It'd help a lot because for 2 days I was in bed. I didn't get out of bed, and that's definitely not like me.
And what would you say to anyone that's not had the vaccine yet?
Just consider it. I know I've got a lot of friends that don't want it, for whatever reasons that they have, and I've got a lot of friends that have already had it. So for me personally, for my personal preference, I would have it just because obviously I want to protect myself and my family and not make it stop us doing anything down the road. But I do understand from the other side of the view some people's opinions where they haven't heard much about it. They want to know, different things about what's the repercussions from having it and stuff like that. I get that.
I'll tell you what, Scott. The repercussions from having the vaccine is maybe a sore arm or a bit of off for a couple of days. I had the vaccine. We'll get onto the match in a second, and then I was a bit ill the second time. I'll tell you what, I'd rather have that than be anyway poorly with COVID, to be honest. And like you said the right thing. It's not just about protecting yourself. It's also about protecting your family and friends, because you might be okay, but there might be someone else that's not. So well said, Scott. And I would personally encourage anyone to do that, not just for yourself, but for everyone else. The more of us that do, the more we get back to normal. And today was normality, Scott, and you've obviously been watching it on the telly. Have you seen the game from your perspective?
So going into the game, I was nervous just because new era, new manager, new style, and going up against the Leicester team that are on a roll at the minute. They finished the season strong, won the FA Cup, and then they went on to win the Community Shield recently. So I always knew this was going to be a tough game for us. I predicted 2-1 to Leicester, and I reckoned that we was going to be 2-0 down, and we'd be stronger near the end of the second half and pull one back through Jimenez or something, and then that would be as far as we would go, and we'd lose 2-1. What I saw today, it weren't great, but it wasn't bad either. There's a lot of positives there. There's a lot to work on, improve on. We still got to remember we've got a lot of players out and who are scheduled to come back, like Neto, Podence, Johnny, just to name a few. And it's one of them where if you look at the positives, we played well, we kept our shape, we had our chances, but that Traore miss, it just goes to prove.
Were you off your chair when he was going through, Scott?
Oh yeah, literally when he was one-on-one with the keeper, I said to my lads, I was like, this is a goal all day. And then when it went by the side of the post, I was like, how the hell's he missed that?
Do you know what it reminded me of a little bit? It's almost like that miss from the chappie in the England-Germany game when he did the same thing. He thought he was going to put it in, he put it past the post. Very similar, but it was the other post.
Yeah, but to be honest, Traore, I can't fault him in this game at all. Considering what the commentators were saying as well, that Bruno Lago was in his ear constantly from the touchline, telling him where to run and everything. So, and Traore was listening, he was battling, he was fighting. So it's one of them where I was proud of Traore's performance. I think he shined more than Trincao and Raul for me in this game. But it was just one of them that if you don't put a chance away like that, if that was Raul one-on-one, guaranteed he would have gone in.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. But Traore, we know he ain't famous for shooting. He does have a shot in him, but he ain't known for it. And
there is a point that could be made. There you go. There's your after effect of your COVID. Because of Traore's speed, his speed got him into that position. Maybe Raul, although he would have finished it, he probably hadn't got the speed to get past the two defenders.
I can't remember who played the through ball, but it was a beautiful ball as well.
Martinho.
Yeah, beautiful ball. But that's the thing, though. Like I was trying to say, if you miss a chance like that, and then you give somebody like Vardy the opportunity to score, and it was a good finish by Vardy, I've got to admit,
Half
it was
chance.
a really good finish.
Chance, quarter of a chance.
Yeah. Literally, he's got to score them all day, and it's one of them that's what this game boils down to. It's a game that if we don't put our chances away, we will get punished by a team like Leicester, who are on a roll at the minute and got a striker like Vardy. But I'm not too disheartened by it. It's the first game of the season under new management, under a new regime, a new way of playing. What I would like to see us is Bruno's supposed to be more famous for being an attacking-minded manager. Looking at that today, I wouldn't have said that was attack-minded football. I think
Even
personally,
though we absolutely battered Leicester in the second half, and we had 17 shots to their 8.
to be honest, second half, I was expecting us to come out like that because we've been known to do that, like in the second half, be the stronger team. But I still think that if we had started more brightly, more attacking off the off front, I don't think Leicester would have got their goal. I think we would have had more chance of scoring in that first half. But
although saying that, Scott, we did have the chance to score with Traore, and then obviously it was a half chance that Leicester. I mean, Leicester are at home, so the onus is probably on the home team. I thought we gradually took control, and I also think we're in a transition phase where they're getting used to his ideas, and we've not got all the squad, like someone said, so many out, and we've still got to get some players in. I thought, considering we went behind, although you've got to look at it and go, 1, we didn't score in the first half. 2, we went behind again. We're playing 3 at the back. You can say, and then we played better in the second half. You can almost hark back to say, well, this is exactly how it's been for the last 18 months of, not scoring, going behind, playing better in the second half. But I saw, even though that was the case, I saw a different Wolves. I felt like we were, the way we pinged the ball about, we look with some quality, but we've got to put the ball in the onion bag, mate. We've just got to.
Well, I paid for when you could pay to see the 6 pre-season games. I paid for that, and I was watching them all, and I got to see them live at Stoke as well because I went to Stoke, and you could see what he was trying to do with the team, and there was elements there in all of those games of what he was trying to do, and seeing the new lads as well, and seeing how well they were performing as well. Like Mosquera, I think, is a great signing for us.
Yes, yeah,
great signing for us.
He's a bit John Smith's, isn't he? No nonsense.
Yeah,
and he's got pace. And he's already become a fan favourite, even though he was bought. And if he hadn't got injured, I think he'd have started today.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I can't. Once he's fit again, I can't see him not starting every game this season. But you look at our defence today. I was proud of them. I thought Sace had a good game. I think he was the best out of all 3. I thought Kilman had a good game, and that bit of skill and the chance that he had up top in the second half was brilliant.
He surged through.
Yeah. And Cody as well. Cody stopping Vardy many times, getting through with last-ditch challenges. I think the back 3 had a really decent game. But I do think that back 3 won't be the back 3 going forward. It'll definitely be Cody, probably Polly, Yerson going forward. But he just shot
or another, which we bring in before the window shuts.
Possibly, yeah.
And but he might switch to a back 4 at some point.
He may do, but it depends what he wants to do. Like if he's more famous for being more attacking. So let's hope that he does something where we can basically like score a lot of goals, but at the same time not concede many. And this is why I think with Yerson coming in, I think I'll make that defense a lot stronger. So make us more comfortable going forward and getting the goals. Jimenez for me is ready. He showed glimpses of it today. This probably wasn't his best game, but in pre-season, he showed what he could do as well. So I'm confident Raul's going to be in the goals this season. Trincao, for me, I need to see a bit more of. Traore, I think, is going to be a beast this season. But for me, we need Neto back as soon as possible. Like, if you've got Neto, Traore, and then Jimenez in the middle, that's a perfect attack for me. Yeah, Podence as well. Yeah. But like you said earlier, that, it was probably a really weak bench, and it is, considering when you look at who we've got out. So once they all come back, I'm confident that this team could do well. Like, we've been made favourites by a couple of pundits to go down. I don't know where this. I don't know where they're seeing that.
On TalkSport, and I was like, "What the hell are you on, mate?" Not after today's performance.
I don't see us being one of the favourites to go down. I still feel there's a few teams in the Premier League that are a lot worse than us. For me personally, I can see us getting between 8th and 10th if we play our game and we get more attacking football on the go and we don't concede as much. But I'll settle for somewhere like 12th, to be honest, in Bruno's first season, just to get the gist
and a cup
of
run.
Yeah, and a cup run. Oh, it'd be nice to have a cup run. Just to get the gist of basically Bruno trying to implement what he wants to do, then maybe have another transfer window where he can bring in additions that he thinks that he needs, and maybe lose a few lads that we no longer need either. And I do think maybe the future is bright for us, but it's too early to say.
It is, mate. We're in this transition, and to sum up, in terms of like who you're going to give your man of the match to, and of course your performance rating. What are you going to go for?
Performance rating, I'll give it a 7 because, like I said, it weren't bad, it weren't good. There is a lot that we can still improve on, but 7 for me is a good number. Man of the match, I'm going to break the mold here. I know everybody's gone Kilman, but for me it was Traore. Traore shined in this game.
So it's not a full house for Kilman then. And we're
No.
back to Kilman. It'd be interesting to see what he goes for.
Traore was one man match. On TV today, he was everywhere, and you could see Bruno shouting at him, and the commentators were saying it as well, that he's telling basically Traore where to run, and Traore didn't moan, he didn't grumble, he just got on with it, listened to his manager, and there's so many times that Traore created opportunities, had opportunities himself, and he deserves one man of the match, I reckon.
I think that shows as well that Wolves are not going to accept any offers for him, because if Bruno wants him, we're not going to sell him.
Well, like Fusen have said, unless it's a really crazy offer that they can't say no to, Traore ain't going anywhere.
It wasn't exactly, and I think the same is for Neves, because I just think, and interestingly enough, apparently Rafa Mir's coming back for training on Monday as well.
Well, the last thing Bruno said when it was about Rafa, that he's coming back to Wolves, he's going to have a word with him, see where his mind is. If he wants to fight for a place here, great, he'll get him into the, working and fighting for it. But if he doesn't, and it's like Catroni, he ain't happy, he wants to go, then they will try and do their best to move him on.
Exactly. He wants happy players, and he wants players that want to be here. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes once he's talked to him. It's good that Bruno's taking stock and they're giving him chance to take stock. I think it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. Hopefully we'll have a good performance against Tottenham. Scott, thank you very much for coming on today. And can I also say, mate, I really hope that cough goes very, very soon for you, because I know that you're a top lad and you want to get out with your Bushbury Hill lads as well. So,
I know I ain't been with them for a week, and I'm not going to be with them for another week now. So, because the missus has got COVID now, so I'm in her bubble, so I've got to self-isolate again for another 10 days.
No, well, I hope she gets well too, mate. Thanks for coming on today, mate. I appreciate it.
No worries, man. No worries.
All right, and hopefully you can come on next weekend too. All the best, Scott, buddy.
All the best.
Loving that top. Cheers.
Try, mate. Try.
So that's Scott, and last but no means least, a bit dark, but all the way over in sunny or dim Berlin. Are you in Berlin at the moment, Matt?
I'm about 45 minutes east of Berlin in Brandenburg. So like there's a sort of foresty area. We've got like a little sort of weekend house. We hang out here. Is it too dark, or is it okay?
It is a bit dark on the screen, but we can hear you, and on the podcast, no one's going to be able to see you at all.
Let me try and find some light then. Is that better?
Yeah, because you've got the light behind you there.
How's that work? Is that good?
It's kind of getting there. Ghost Man will be. No, you're getting darker, mate. We've got a character.
Hang on.
We've got a character, and now we're getting some light. That's better. We can see the Neves look-alike. But yeah, we have a character called Ghostman, and he's famous for being in his dark shed, and like people keep trying to emulate him and be dark. But that's much better. In fact, mate, it's brilliant. You've kind of got these lights,
like a halo effect going.
A halo effect that's coming out. As I think you said, Ghostman 2. Mate, have you watched the game today in Berlin?
I watched it on the. We've got a stream on TV and watched it in the garden. I got to say though, before we talk about the sort of result, it's amazing seeing a full house again. Like having 3,500 Wolves fans at the ground and having a full house and the fans back in singing. I mean, last season was rough in general. As a Wolves fan, it was pretty bad football. It was grim. Like it wasn't particularly exciting. But I think the biggest thing was having no fans. Without fans, there's no drama. And having fans back today and having the away lads singing 20 minutes. Bruno's Barmy Army.
Kept going on forever.
It's all,
and we were
it's all that
singing
matters.
to the Leicester fan, 18 months and you still don't sing. I mean, they have got a section which I call the Slither that were really singing. That was on the left-hand side. Other than that, they were a bit. I was surprised with that. They were a bit on the quiet side. I thought the Wolves fans. Maybe I'll say that because I was in the middle of it, but I felt like we outsang the Leicester fans.
I mean, number one, it's pretty Tim Pot to have your own singing section. You know what I mean? Like that's already pretty embarrassing. But I mean, the non UK commentator already commentated about saying how loud the Wolves fans were compared to the Leicester fans, especially in that first half when we had no ball. No, I thought it was amazing. I mean, having a full house back at the football. This is what it's all about, you know what I mean? Like the result's important, the game's important, but having people back at the ground and the drama, that's what it's all about.
I'll tell you what, having been there and been all part of the build-up and walking up to the stadium and walking in and being part of it and singing and the atmosphere and being at the game, like you say, with a full stadium, it was you just realize how much you miss it. And it was like, oh my God, I've missed this. And maybe because we hadn't had 18 for months, it was even more. But I'm just thinking what Molineux is going to be like a week on Sunday. I just think it's just going to be intense.
I would sell one of my children to go to Molineux on Saturday next week to watch the game. I mean, seriously, it's going to be absolutely banging.
I really think it will be. Mate, because the Wolves fans were unbelievable today, absolutely magnificent. And I think you've got one of the retro shirts. Is that the Tyre Mark shirt that you've got on?
There you go.
That is a Wolves classic. It's kind of like the Marmite shirt. Did you get that off the retro range sent
I
to
did,
you?
yeah. So I only buy Marmite shirts. So I've got this one, and I've got the last season's away kit, the sky blue clouds. Like I only deal in like iconic / controversial shirts, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you rock them really well. So, mate, watching the game in the garden over there in Germany, what did you think of the overall performance, and who impressed you the most?
I don't. It's interesting, right? Because I'm not home in the Midlands often, so I'm overseas. So I get a lot of my sort of Wolves news from Twitter or Molineux Mix, or like chatting on WhatsApp, and sort of the impression you get from the Wolves fans on digital is very sort of negative, or like, Nuno's gone, and we've bought no players, and it feels like the sky's falling in. But I'm actually really positive for this season. Like I think we've got a progressive coach and a decent ownership, and it was stale and we needed to change. And so I was quite excited about the game. I wasn't confident we'd win. I don't think this first 3 games at home this and the 2 home games before the international break are indicative of our season. But I was quite excited for the new season. I think a new manager playing progressive, front foot, high tempo football with a high press is a really good thing for us. I think we'd gone a little bit stale under Nuno. I love Nuno; he's a legend. So I wasn't sort of doom and gloom and going to get pumped by Leicester. I thought we might lose, but let's see how it goes. And I mean, first half was fine. Like I don't think we played that well, but second half was as you guys have said on previous calls, quite similar to the Celta Vigo game. We pumped them. I mean, there were. I mean, as much as I do, there are moments today where you look at the Wolves have got the ball in centre midfield, and there's like 7 players ahead of Neves in the box or around the box. You're like,
mad, isn't it? You wouldn't have seen that last year.
That hasn't happened in a year and a half. Like, he's got options off the ball.
Were you really excited watching us play today? I mean, I was in the stadium seeing how we played, but how we were moving the ball around and switching it and playing, and it was wave after wave after wave.
Mate, it was so good. It was so. I was on the edge of my seat. I mean, I love Wolves. Like I always get excited about Wolves, but today seeing Marcel overlap Adama to like bring the ball into the box, and there's 4 people waiting for a cross, like. That hasn't happened for so long. Like, I mean, we can ignore COVID and how we've played before, but just seeing wave after wave of Wolves players attacking was honestly, it was beautiful. I mean, especially second half. There's half an hour section in the second half where like we're gonna win the league. I mean, obviously I get quite excited. We're a few signings away from being really, really good. really good. I mean, if we don't sign anybody, if we stick with this squad and don't buy anyone else, we'll finish 10th to 13th. If we get a mobile centre half, a decent mobile centre midfielder, and that's it, 2 signings, then I think we're top 8. Like, I think there's so many pieces of this puzzle falling into place.
And if we and if we add to that another striker to back up Raul, do you think we could be top 7?
I mean, yeah, seriously. I mean, I thought. I mean, 2 things are Raul. I think number 1, well, no, 3 things. He played 90 minutes, which is amazing. Like, I mean, the fact that he was on there for 90 minutes is, I think, just awesome. Number 2, he was defending corners and like heading the ball out. Like, the guy's back. Like, he's fully like fixed. His head's
psychologically as well.
Yeah, psychologically, like, that was the biggest thing for me. I think number 3, he's not quite match fit, which is totally normal. Like, he hasn't played football for, was it like, almost a year. So I have no worries about Raul at all now. Yeah, we're just a couple of signings away. I think there's a few issues that I noticed that we get sort of cut through quite easily. There was a couple of times when it was a pass from the centre half through midfield, and then from midfield through to the strike, and they were through. That's way too easy to get cut up. We lack a little bit of legs in the middle of both defence and midfield, and if we can overcome that, or sort of bring some people in, I think we're really close. I think we're really close to doing something really quite special. Because if you think of our front line, I mean, today we've got Trincao, who was quite quiet first half, but I thought second half was really dynamic. I mean, he's quite slight. He needs to bulk up a little bit and get used to the pace of the Premier League. But one-touch football, like flicking it off, trying things that are interesting, coming inside, like, it didn't always work, but I can see what he's trying to do, and I like it, and we've got Podence and Neto to come back with Raul and Fabio, maybe one more striker. Like, our front 6 is like top 4, top 5. The issue is that we lack a little bit of pace in the middle of the park. I think Neves, Matinho, Dodonka, as Larger said, they're all quite similar. They're all one-paced. There's not a lot of legs in there, and I think also at the back, Cody, Sice, Kilman played well, but we're just lacking a little bit of pace, a little bit of aggression. I think two key signings.
I think we do like pace. Yerson's got a bit of pace on him.
Yeah,
who's out injured. But I tell you what, finishing with you tonight is just like so positive. I'm loving it. I'm starting to believe we can win the league as well.
I mean, things are like, who else would you want to be? If you take away the top 4, and that's the Big 6 is done, right? It's the top 4 now. So the top 4 clubs, and they spent a ton of money. They're out of sight to a degree. Everything else, you're in and around it. Like, there's no other team that's from like sort of 5th down has spent a lot of money or done a ton of business that I feel sort of jealous of. I mean, Villa have bought a bit, but they've lost Grealish. They got pumped at Watford today, who were terrible. I mean, Villa are awful. I mean, no real clubs are buying anybody. I mean, this team is better than the team that finished the end of last season because we've got Raul back and we've got Trincao. If we had 2 more, we're up there, really. I mean, maybe I'm being way too optimistic, but I'm
loving the optimism, mate. I'm loving it. I'm starting to feel, I'm pumped. I want to go out there and play. You got me motivated.
and I think there's going to be some really interesting signings coming up. Like, I don't think Bruno does an interview where he says we've identified 3 to 4 players.
Keep the faith with the chairman. We've talked about it. We know what we want.
They know what we want. There's no way
coming, isn't it?
If no one's coming in, there's no way he's saying I want my team to dream of the opposite. Well, was it I want 2 for each position, and I want them to go to bed thinking about their sort of like competitor for that position. There's no way he's saying that if he's not getting more players in. I think we've got 2 weeks to go. I mean, how I see this sort of 3 games before the international break is a bit like a sort of extended pre-season. Like we will sort of like hone our tactics. We'll hone our sort of way of playing. We'll bring some new players in, and then we'll have the international break. And then after that is when it really goes off. Saying that, I think we're going to pump Tottenham next week. I think Nuno's return. I think us playing attacking football under Large. I think it's written in the stars. We're going to do them 2-0.
Oh my!
You know it.
Look at this, Katie Merricks. I love it, Merv. The optimism is great. Let's have more. I'm loving it, mate. To finish off on then, who are you going to give your man of the match to? because it's been the Kilman show apart from Traore once. And what's your performance rating for tonight?
I mean, Kilman was ace. I mean, I think we should take a moment to appreciate that Kilman at one point in a move was from his defense, and he was in the box taking on people, having a shot. I mean, like, at what point have we seen a Wolves centre half since Dean Richards or Lescott like marauding forward that far, not from a set piece? I think that's honestly amazing. So for that alone, I'll give it Kilman as my man of the match. First half a 6, second half an 8.5.
Absolutely. And to finish off with, Som says he wants a pint of what Matt's been drinking, please, bartender. Absolutely. And chaotic, we're all motivated by Matt. Katie, this has made my night. Absolutely great. Fantastic. And Chaotic Rangers finishing with top 4 easy. Well, you can't finish with more pots than that.
It's done.
Mate, I'll tell you what, we do start struggling in the season. Wolves need to get you on a plane into the dressing room, because like, I'm believing now that we can do it. Absolutely brilliant. Thanks ever so much, mate.
I'll talk to you next week.
No, don't forget to send in your IFR as well for the international fan too. But try and find some light.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome, mate. Brilliant. Thanks a lot.
Mate. Have a good one.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, that's Matt finishing off the show, and talk about finishing with positivity. Absolutely amazing. Listen, guys, it's been a fantastic show. It's for the first one back. If you want to get on the show for next week after the Tottenham game, don't forget to get in touch with myself on Instagram or Twitter, Dazzling Dave, or leave a comment in the channel below, or drop a message to the Always Wolves Facebook page. I do want to thank everyone that's been in the comments and the chat. Please smash a like. And of course, I want to thank all my guests tonight that have come on. It's been an absolutely brilliant show. Obviously, we had no Amy tonight because she was off at a party with some of her friends, but she'll probably be back for next week. Cass says, fast show. If you're watching this back on YouTube, or you're listening to it back on the Always Wolves podcast, thank you very much for joining. Please leave some positive reviews, and I very much hope that you've enjoyed this. And one thing that I do want to say is look out for the match day vlog. It'll be out sometime on Sunday. This is my fan's eye view of the day today through my eyes, going to the stadium with all the fans and some of the action. So make sure you check that out, and make sure you got the bell notifications on as well. And everyone's saying thank you. Brilliant show from Carl, from Merv, and Joe saying it's a great show. From me to all of you and to your families, wherever you are watching and listening in the world, all the best. The joy and the pain of supporting Wolves. We might have lost today, but we've had a lot of joy getting back into the stadium and watching a positive performance from myself. Always Wolves.